Welcome back to Broke Electronics. I'm Lee, and I'm so glad that you could stop by here today. Behind me here, you see a graphite PowerMac G4. That is the PowerMac G4 PCI graphics, aka Yikes, that I introduced probably, unless something else comes up, last week's video. It is a very compromised machine, and I'm discovering more and more just how compromised it is. My plan for today was to put in another hard drive and to install macOS 9.2.2 and macOS 10.4 Tiger. Now, there's a problem in that the Yikes, similar to its close cousin, the PowerMac G3 Blue and White, does not have a DVD drive. It has only a CD writer. So, the install media for Tiger is, of course, on DVDs. I had thought, well, okay, I can use my FireWire installer drive. No, you can't. I realized that very quickly. It can't boot from a FireWire drive. I had tried that before. I had thought, well, maybe we can throw it into target disk mode and use my PowerBook G4, which does have a DVD drive, to do the installation on the hard drive. No. You learn something new every day. What I discovered in looking at this is that the first Mac desktop computer that permitted target disk mode was a sawtooth. Missed it by 3 months. Well, what are you going to do? So, I have another plan. We'll get that in a bit. Now, then we had the thought, let's go the other way here so you can see this, that G3 Blue and White there. Now, I had taken out its SSD, which has got Tiger, Cheetah, and OS 9 on it, in order to put in a hard drive and check out the upgrade path from OS 8 to OS 9, and discovered you can upgrade directly from 8.6 to 9.2.2. You don't have to go sequentially in steps. All right. Problem. That drive that I put in, there's only a 6 gigabyte drive, which is fine for OS 9, being such a light operating system. Tiger will eat that up like that. It's crazy. So, how are we going to do that? Well, I have a number of IDE hard drives kicking around, mostly that I pulled out of machines in order to put SSDs into them. The Yikes, maybe I'll put an SSD in there. If I had an adapter handy, I probably would. But anyhow, so we're looking at them. This one is a Mac Store, 250 gigabytes. That's too big. Because the Yikes, like most of the early PowerMacs, was restricted in its firmware to 128 gigabyte drives at a maximum. Now, as I said, for OS 9, that's immense. As you get into OS 10, not so much. So that one's out. We have here an IBM 6 gigabytes. That's not going to work. Here's a Western Digital, 80 gigabytes. And here, an IBM Desk Star, 40 gigabytes. Okay, I think I'm actually going to use this because, again, the Yikes being as limited as it is, there's no point in throwing a lot of money into it. The 250 gigabyte drive, if I end up using it, I think can find a better home than the Yikes. And this is going to be plenty for anything that I might decide to do with the Yikes. Okay, now back to installing. I can't use target disk mode. I'll be darned if I'm going to buy a DVD drive to put into a Yikes. So, here's the plan. The third computer in this little trilogy here, that is a PowerMac G4 Gigabit Ethernet. Basically, the Gigabit Ethernet is a sawtooth. But with Gigabit Ethernet, hence the name of the model, and a dual processor. That one has, I believe, a dual 450 megahertz G4s. So, but it does have a DVD reader, as did the sawtooths as well. So we can put this drive into the digital audio, do the installations, take it back out, put it in the Yikes. Okay, you following me so far? It's a little convoluted. All right, but nonetheless, if you're interested in following along with this process, please stay tuned. Okay, now I see this is actually going to be a little bit complicated. This is, of course, the Gigabit Ethernet. It has two hard drives in there. There's an installation of Tiger on a 40 gigabyte hard drive, and an installation of Panther on a 20 gigabyte hard drive. Unfortunately, the one on top is the Tiger installation. It occurred to me that rather than installing, I might as well just clone the existing installations onto the new drive. That should end up doing the same thing. So, what I have to do, unplug the IDE. All right. Take out the screw. Now, one of the awkward things here, these Molex cables. This one down here, well, no, it's coming. It's actually coming. Okay, that's the original hard drive, and I think that's been screwed into this sled for a long time. So rather than, turning this into a 45-minute video of me trying to pull Molex cables out, I'm going to get that pulled, put in the hard drive I'm proposing to use, and then we'll pick up the video then. Stay tuned. Okay, and there we are. The drive down here is jumping to the master position. That's the drive on which I'm intending to clone. This is the original Tiger OS 9 drive. It's in slave position. IDE is connected. Molex is connected. And we should be ready to go. All right, stay tuned. Well, this is interesting. First of all, you see it says G4 gigabit 40 gigabytes. This was probably the hard drive that was in my other Gigabit Ethernet, which I replaced with an SSD. It's got OS 9 in there. It's got an OS 10 installation. Let's see. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Yeah, it's got, It's got Tiger. Well, you know, let's have a look. This, I may have done a clean install on a hard drive on that other machine only to decide to go to an SSD in it. This was like 3 years ago. There are videos out there, some of my early tech videos that would feature this. So let's see what happens. Okay. No. This has got Tech Tool Pro on it. Oh, okay. Yeah. The seller of this machine did a clean install of Tiger, and that file labeled pass is the password. Okay. Let's look at accounts here. I keep looking for users. Yeah, new owner. Okay, I tell you what. I gotta think on this because, yeah, I remember this now. This is a clean install. The only unusual thing here is Tech Tools Pro being on it, which he must have put on to check things. I could probably just save myself a little time and put that drive right in the Yikes directly. Interesting. Oh, I don't know what the password is. Okay, I guess it didn't copy. Copy? I can't paste it. Okay. Yeah. G4 Dual 500. This is a 500 megahertz machine. Okay. So we've authenticated now. Okay. All right. And change the password. Yeah, it did copy, just wouldn't take it. Okay. All right. Oh, I didn't. Got distracted there. Okay, so that way whenever I log into this, I didn't mean to Okay, yeah. Huh. I don't know what's on OS 9 on this, but that doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. Since we have now changed the password, we can trash that. All right. Huh. How about that? Well, just for the heck of it, I'm going to take a look. At the OS 9 install. Stay tuned. Okay, we've got a very plain, simple, clean install of OS 9. So the seller had clearly wiped the drive completely and put those on, so that saves me some work. We can just put this into the Yikes. It should work fine. And I can customize it as I wish. And just to clear up one thing that is about this computer tell us this. This is a dual 450 megahertz G4 machine. We go to System Profiler. It should tell us. Yeah, the hard drive, that password which indicated dual 500. This, of course, was my other gigabit Ethernet, which is a dual 500. Okay. Well, how interesting. Okay, so I didn't need to do this at all, but it was kind of nice to get this machine back up and run it again for old time's sake. Okay, so next up we'll be putting this thing in a Yikes. Stay tuned. All right, the gigabit Ethernet over here is officially back together. I found that there, of course, were no screws for the top position in this sled. I found 3 screws that fit very well, and a 4th one that, well, is in there. All right. Yikes. So we have power. Yeah, there we go. These things go in a lot easier than they come out. All right, IDE. There's that. And come on, baby. Doesn't quite want to fit. But there, we're in. Just barely. But we're in. Okay. Now, a couple other things. Happen to have a FireWire 400 card with an internal FireWire port. And since there's an open PCI, oh, interesting. Now this is not going to fit. This is not. Yeah, it's a. Yeah, it's a short cover there. Well, I don't really need that anyway. Okay, and so much for that upgrade. I probably got another one kicking around here somewhere I could put in there. Get that into position. All right, now the other thing. I did put some money into the RAM. You might as well bring this up to its stated maximum of 1 gigabyte. Okay, and now we have to boot it up and see if it works. Stay tuned. Well, and here we are. Okay, I ended up disabling the original hard drive since there's really no need to boot into it at all, and this was the way of ensuring that we actually boot into the OSs on the 40 gigabyte drive. All right, let's have a look at about this Mac. A 350 megahertz PowerPC G4. That still blows my mind. I mean, far and away, this is the least powerful G4. I own a lot of G4s. PowerBooks and Mac Mini and iMacs and a lot of PowerMacs, as you know if you've looked at this channel at all. But this is far and away the least powerful processor of any G4 that I have, and the 1 gigabyte of memory. But hey, it's there. We have the max memory of 1 gigabyte. Now, truth to tell, Tiger is going to run fine on 1 gigabyte. OS 9 will be beyond happy on 1 gigabyte. So, all right, looking at System Profiler. What is the model identifier? 1,2. Okay. All of that. ATI Rage 128. That can be upgraded. It's a little hard to find the PCI graphics card upgrades, but they do exist. I've got one in my Revision B PowerMac G3. Okay, USB. Now there's that USB card. Let's just look at PCI cards. Yeah, the USB card. It's not indicating high speed. I mean, I would think it would have to be. Why put a card in if it's not going to be USB 2? But it doesn't really matter. Okay, now the balance of this video is going to be me soliloquizing. For those of you who are not interested in listening to me soliloquize, which I assume is the vast majority of you, feel free to end now. Just please continue being the good people that I know you are and joining in making the world a better place. Now, for those of you who are left, and I thank all half dozen of you from the bottom of my heart, I've trash-talked this machine a lot in the course of these last couple of videos, with some good reason. It's a compromised machine. It's a mistake. Apple should not have released this. They just should have eaten the loss on, the logic boards for the G3s. But I love it anyway. And we talk about loving machines. I think this is the soul of this whole retro computing thing. Because these machines are real to people. And that's why I want to keep that original 10 gig hard drive and just leave it set up as it is. I'll probably never boot into it again. But just leave it as is. Because it tells a story. And I've appreciated that so much. My PowerMac G4 digital audio corresponded with the seller quite a bit and got to know something about him and what he used that machine for and how he lovingly upgraded that machine. The eMac 2004 G4. I spoke with the seller. I went down to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, someplace, and picked it up. And we spoke for half an hour about what he used this machine. He was the original owner. the things that he did in the machine. That's the way I'd prefer to find things out rather than snooping through people's hard drives. But still, this was a machine that, as lame as it was even when it was released, it was loved, it was used. I'm imagining the father bought it, moved on to something more powerful, and then his wife inherited it. His son used it. His wife used it for many things, including helping her son with his homework. I mean, this machine lived. It had a long life. They upgraded it. They added more RAM. They put in that USB PCI card. They put in, and there's got to be a video on this at some point in the future. There's a PCMCIA laptop card reader in a PCI slot. I would love to do some exploration of that. I haven't got a whole lot of PCMCIA cards, but it'd be worth exploring and making a video of that. Yeah, this machine lived and it was loved, and I am so glad that I have it, and it continues to live a little bit more. Now, as far as its future life, we're gonna have at least one more well, you know, when I get around to the PC card thing, we'll be doing that, but I've got to set the machine up some, because these are now vanilla installs of OS 9 and Tiger. So we'll certainly go through that. I have a plan maybe of doing a benchmark comparison video between a couple of the G3s blue and whites that I have in this machine, and maybe that gigabit Ethernet too, just to see the progression. How much better does this machine score than a 400 megahertz G3? Should be pretty substantial, but it's worth looking at. All right. Well, in any event, I hope you've enjoyed looking at the slice of Apple's past and computing's past. Be good to other people. They need it and deserve it. Be good to yourselves. Everything has to start from that. We can make this world a better place. Since it isn't, please take very, very good and careful care in these difficult times. We'll be back with those videos I was mentioning. I've got some more Mac Pro stuff coming up, which I'm kind of excited about, and a whole bunch of other things. So until that actually happens, it's available on the channel. This has been Broken Electronics.